And also remember, don't believe what I'm saying in this video. This video is all for entertainment purposes.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also.
Mr. Speaker, this bill was tabled on the 28th of January 2025. That date marks a sad day in the history of this parliament. Mr. Speaker, it's interesting, I sat there and I listened to the minister did this bill. What was significant? He said, this is of historical significance. Over 150 years since a parish has been created. For that significance, he said the least ever said in this house in the introduction of a new bill. Mr. Speaker, for the 30 years that I have been in this house, I have never heard that minimal. You keep quiet. Mr. Speaker, this bill entitled An Act to Amend the Counties and Parishes Act to declare City Municipality of Portmore the 15th Parish of Jamaica and for connected matters. Mr. Speaker, this bill would have been most appropriately entitled the Gerrymandering of Political Boundaries Bill of 2025. A bill
if we can have, let us.
Mr. Speaker, nowhere in my presentation or nowhere written within the bill or in my remarks was the word gerrymandering. So I would ask the member not to rename, which is his intention, Mr. Speaker. Okay?
May I continue, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker,
whilst we are at the stage of debating, it is good and wise that we listen to each other when we are presenting. Continue. Turn your mic on.
And indeed, we must listen to ourselves too. And I repeat, Mr. Speaker, I said the bill as titled, in my opinion, and I believe in many, would be most appropriately named the Gerrymandering of Political Boundaries Bill of 2025. A bill, Mr. Speaker, such a bill is for the resurrection of political tribalism in Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, I made the remark, Mr. Speaker, about the sparsity of merit that the minister attached to this bill that he presented. He spoke about increasing governance and all of that. When you read the MOA, it is envisioned that the designation of parish status and the municipality will strengthen its lobbying capacity, empower its citizens to more independently chart the course of development rather than being subject of the decisions made for the parish of St. Catherine. Mr. Speaker, the content of this MOA it's clear that either the minister never read the charter of the Portmore municipality under the Municipal Act, because all of those things are provided for in this currently. All. Mr. Speaker, I read from the Municipal Act, Charter of Portmore Municipality. Objects of the municipality to provide for efficient and accountable management of the affairs of the municipality of Portmore, to institute such measures as are necessary for ensuring that the management of the affairs of the municipality are conducted in a manner which is responsive to the needs and aspirations of the inhabitants of Portmore. It's here. And it goes further. To provide a governance mechanism which will enable the inhabitants of Portmore to participate in determining the social services and regulatory framework which will best satisfy their needs and expectations. And it goes on. Verify whether public resources and authority are utilized or exercised as the case may be to their satisfaction. To their satisfaction. It's here. And it goes on. To vigorously pursue the development opportunities which are available to Portmore and to institute such measures as are necessary for achieving public order and the provision of civic amenities so as to enhance the quality of life of the inhabitants. To promote social cohesiveness and a sense of civic duty, responsibilities among all inhabitants and stakeholders in Portmore in order to facilitate collective action and commitment towards achieving the goal of a harmonious and stable community. This is here. Nothing will be created by what they're seeking to do. But you know what, Mr. Speaker? You know what, Mr. Speaker? In this bill lies a slew of deception. A slew of deception. If you look at clause, this is a bill with 9 clauses. If you look at clause 8, a simple one sentence, section 8, the Charter of the Municipality of Portmore, 2015 is repealed. One sentence, repeals the charter. You know what else is in this charter that they're repealing, Mr. Speaker? You know what they are ripping apart from the people of Portmore, Mr. Speaker? They are ripping away from Portmore their right to elect their own mayors. That is what is provided for in the charter. Those are not my opinion. This is here. Read it. This is what is in the charter. Mr. Speaker, one of the reasons why I feel very strongly about this matter, the people of Portmore between 1994, 1995, through to 2002, 2003, they had extensive consultations right across the municipality for over 8 years. This was not a construct of the PNP government in 2003. This represents what the people of Portmore demanded. What the PNP merely did was, one, listen to the people and facilitated what they aspired to achieve. That's what brings this about. We and this side take no ownership of it. It belongs to the people of Portmore. We never gloat about we give Portmore a municipality. We didn't. The government of the day did not give the people of Portmore a municipality. The people of Portmore fought for it and they got it. They got it. Mr. Speaker, what else? What else did they sought and got in this charter? They said they don't want the political directorate on either side to select the boundaries for Portmore going forward. They didn't. They said they want to be a part of it. And that's why in the law it was stipulated that any new proposed boundary from what started the municipality must have at least 1/7 participation by the residents of Portmore. That's what they fought for. What this bill that this government brings here is to say to the people of Portmore, shut your mouth. We will not listen to you. You will determine their boundaries. That's what this bill does. Mr. Speaker, what this bill also does, that the minister did not tell you when he spoke, nor is it contained in here, and that's where the deception lies. This bill is all about one thing. It is all about creating a political stronghold for the Jamaican Labour Party.
Member Jackson. The minister wants to rise on a point of order. Let us give him the privilege.
Mr.
Turn your mic on.
Mr. Speaker, again, I'm going to ask for your protection. The bill that was tabled, Mr. Speaker, speaks specifically in making Portmore the 15th parish. Nowhere in the bill, Mr. Speaker, is any question of creating any political dominance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can you ask the member to stick to the bill? The member is misleading the House, misleading the country, Mr. Speaker. Can you ask the member? To discontinue the mischief that he's making? He has not said anything in relation to the bill.
Mr. Speaker, I repeat, based on what is set out here, the effect of this bill is solely for the purpose of creating political advantage. Mr. Speaker, I quote, the most difficult of the three was Portmore Pines, and we have made it much easier now. I have been fighting before 2011, when we had the last boundary change, that Portmore should not go to Spanish Town. And today, I am happy to say that we have the boundary that we wanted all along. Quarry Hill, Lakespen, Lime Tree Grove, Grange Lane, on that side will no longer be in Portmore. And I go further. Mr. Speaker, when we take off Portmore from St. Catherine, it's a different ball game. We have 41 seats now, or 42 seats? Out of this 42, they have 12 in Portmore. We want 2, they want 10, yet they won the St. Catherine Parish Council by 1 seat, even though they carry 10 from Portmore. Now, we give them back them PNP 10 seats. Leave us alone over here. And it means that under no circumstances, PNP can ever win the St. Catherine Parish Council again. Never again. Mr. Speaker, those are the words from the former senior cabinet member of that side and member of parliament for Southwest St. Catherine. Those are not my words. So when I hear the minister get up on a point of order, I know his conscience is not setting him free. Mr. Speaker, I said at the outset that this bill is all about gerrymandering. That the former minister confirmed. Publicly stated. The Prime Minister nor no member over there ever refuted it. Never once. And they have the nerve to come here and talk about it's not about political boundary. The very narrative in this was made by that member. Mr. Speaker, this bill This bill, this gerrymandering bill, is to undo. This gerrymandering bill is to undo the result of the local government election last February. They never won the municipality by the ballot, so they want to use their majority in parliament to achieve that. Mr. Speaker, this is a cruel act. This is a wicked act. This bill, Mr. Speaker, this is not about Portmore. It's about the democracy of this country. They have started along a slippery slope to get what they want by circumventing the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. That's what it's all about. The Electoral Advisory Commission, Mr. Speaker, clearly said so since 1979 that no longer should political boundary be determined by any incumbent government.
Minister, I am aware that you are rising on a point of order. You may now rise on your point of order.
Mr. Speaker, the member just made reference about the setting of boundaries. Mr. Speaker, there is nowhere in the bill that the question of establishing political boundaries were mentioned. That is not the dictate of the bill. That is not our responsibility to set political boundaries. Mr. Speaker, the member continue. You are allowing the member to continue to mislead the House by stating things that are not factual, Mr. Speaker. And he's doing it on purpose. Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, Mr. Speaker, the member, in his effort to win support, needs to tell the country why he's against Portmore becoming the 15th parish.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to continue from where I left. Mr. Speaker, I indicated that this bill, you know, this 1867 bill, as he rightfully said, over 158 years ago, was a bill promulgated to allow the landowners. Mr. Speaker, you're compromising yourself, Mr. Speaker.
If you just sit for a while. One of the things that I've observed, once again, if we listen, members, we are guided by the standing order. Remember now, we are guided by the standing order. And the standing order places speaker here. And therefore, if I am unable to get us to act in a certain way, then I will use the same standing order to rule. It happens on both sides. And I'm going to ask that on more than one occasion, we would have used the act of a standing order position to make statements. It happens on both sides. We are debating the matter. We are debating the matter. All of us at times put our hand and say, point of order, and we make statements. I am saying to us today, exactly, I am saying to us today that as of now, whilst I am sitting in the chair, I am going to make sure that if you rise on the point of order, that you ask a question directly and do not make a statement. What is good for the goose must be good for the gander. Continue.
Mr. Speaker, I will continue from where I left off. I made a point, Mr. Speaker, that this bill is all about creating prescribed political boundaries by the government. The minister said it. The minister said it. And I made the point, Mr. Speaker, that this 1867 bill act was an act created to divide up Jamaica by the colonizers, divide up the land by themselves. This government, after 150 years, is now reinvoking that act to create political freedom for themselves. Mr. Speaker, this act is to undo the results of the 2024 local government election. Because if this bill is to brought into force today, it will terminate the office of the directly elected mayor of Portmore. That is what this bill will do. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. Yes. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, they are upending the election results of last year by their parliamentary majority. Mr. Speaker, when the Electoral Advisory Committee was promulgated in 1979, you know, one of our successes as a country is that the wisdom of the JLP and the PNP then prevailed, led by Michael Manley and Mr. Edward Siaga, in promulgating. They promulgated the Electoral Advisory Committee to ensure that no constituency and divisional boundary is determined by any party. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Local Government and the Member of Parliament for West Kingston, I am confident is causing Mr. Siaga to turn in his grave. Because this bill is to upend what the Electoral Advisory Committee seeks to do. Mr. Speaker, this bill is nothing more than a power grab by the government. That's what it's all about. It's the most anti-democratic bill that this country has ever seen since for 44 years. Mr. Speaker, it is what in 2025 is now parliamentary tyranny. Power drunkenness by their majority over there. That's what it's all about. Power drunkenness. I'm going to say it a million times.
Member, you have been on the floor and you have surpassed the time. I'm going to ask you to wrap up your presentation so others can get their presentation. Turn your mic on.
Mr. Speaker, this matter of reshaping parish boundaries is no light matter. It's a significant thing. And the minister said it has not been done since 1867. It's a significant matter. The appropriate and civil and democratic way, if the government in their wisdom believes that the parish boundaries need to be revisited, there's a proper way to go about it. What the government should do is to table a white paper, engage all the stakeholders, look at the merits, the pros and the cons, and arrive at any proposition that evolves from that exercise. Why, Mr. Speaker? Parish boundaries will transcend all administrations. You are there now, you will go. Right? So, Mr. Speaker, I humbly submit, Mr. Speaker, that the government, because, Mr. Speaker, posterity will hold the minister responsible for the one who tabled this bill in the House. And generations to come will hold you responsible and your government. There's a better way to do it. Withdraw this bill. Engage the opposition. Engage the people of Portmore. Engage the stakeholders. Because you know what, Mr. Speaker? Today for Portmore, tomorrow for Westmoreland, Hanover, or any other parish in this country. That's where we are going. And we can't. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I will say, should the government remain in its state of power drunkenness, proceed to enact this, we will meet the government in the courts. And, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the opposition, I am serving notice that when the People's National Party forms the next government, we will repeal this act. And we will allow the people of Portmore people determine their destiny, their form of government, because the will of the people must always prevail.